All right, what's going on, y'all? So I've been watching the press conferences and stuff like that for the fight, Anthony Joshua and Joseph Parker. Really excited about the fight. Great fight. Anthony Joshua has been fighting really good fighters, back to back to back. He hasn't had an easy schedule, and he still may not have an easy schedule, even if he were to win this fight. Who knows who's gonna fight after? It could be the winner of Wilder and Ortiz. It could be Povetkin. Povetkin's supposed to be fighting on the undercard of this fight. Who knows who Joshua's gonna fight after? But this dude, this is why I kind of respect him because the dude is not no slouch. He's fighting nothing but top heavyweights at this point. There's no tune-ups in between. You win big fights, no tune-ups. He was gonna fight Pulev. Pulev backed out. He went for it, Takum. Takum's no tune-up. That's a real deal dude. So respect him. And respect Joseph Parker. He stepped up. He fought Takum himself. He fought an undefeated Andy Ruiz. And now he's fighting Anthony Joshua, and he said in a press conference, or I've seen him in an interview where he said, I think it was on Fight Hype, where he was like, if I were to win this fight, I'll fight Joshua. Wilder. I'll fight Wilder. So you got to respect for both dudes. Both dudes are, they don't seem to really be ducking anyone or anything like that. So much respect to them. Now about the fight, about the build up, the hype, all the stuff with the Joseph Parker's camp saying that Joshua was on steroids and stuff like that. I ain't really buying into all of that, because I just feel like that's just hype for the fight. I don't think there's any real beef between them. You know what I'm saying? Joseph Parker is a pretty humble dude, and so is Anthony Joshua. So when I heard that, I felt like it was like kind of forced. Like I felt like it was just more to hype up the fight. I think like certain fights like this where both guys are kind of humble, I felt like stuff that is said about each other is kind of forced because they're normally not like that. I think like in a fight, like if Anthony Joshua was to fight Deontay Wilder, they really don't need to force any hype with that fight because first of all, a lot of fans been asking for it for a long time now, and second of all, they've been interviewed and they've said a lot of stuff about each other leading up to this point. Nothing really disrespectful, but you don't really need no reason to hype that fight up. Where in this fight, you have a fight between two really humble dudes, two professional dudes. So I ain't really buying into all of that. But anyway, let's talk about the fight. Now, I think about a week ago, I was watching some of the heavyweight fights between all of the upcoming fights. I was watching Ortiz fights. I was watching Deontay Wilder fights, both Joseph Parker and Anthony Joshua. And I watched the Takum fight between the both of them. And, after watching it again for a second time, because I haven't seen neither fight since I first saw the fight, the night of the fight. I remember at first glance, I wasn't impressed with Parker fighting Takum. I definitely think Joshua did better against Takum. But I have to give both credit because after watching it for a second time, I was a little bit more impressed. But I definitely think Joshua did better against Takum. The things I noticed with the weak points of Parker is he definitely drops his guard and he's definitely not that hard to hit. Okay. You can easily counter him with a left hook. You definitely could come over the top and land a right hand. All right. His defense is not that great. Okay. He's still kind of straight away. Like even when he was fighting a lower level fighters, there will be times where he gets hit with big shots, and he kind of leads himself over to it. He has fast hands, he has a quick jab, but he's kind of lazy with it at times, and he pays for it at times. Okay, not really that hard to counter. Where you have Anthony Joshua on the other hand, I think people don't give him enough credit for his footwork. Okay, I think he's quicker on his feet than a lot of people give him credit for. Okay, I know a lot of people like to say he's big, he's slow, he's a robot, stuff like that. I think he's much better and I think he has better technique than what people give him credit for. Not only that, but his guard is always up. Um, he keeps his guard up even when he's on the offense. Not saying he can't get countered. Not saying he doesn't leave himself open at times, but he's much harder to hit than Joseph Parker. Okay, Joseph Parker leaves himself way open at times. Has fast hands. I think his hand speed could be a problem for Anthony Joshua because I haven't really seen Joshua fight someone that was really that fast. Okay, we all know that Klitschko was the best fighter that he's faced, and he's fought some solid guys like Dillian White and um, Carlos Molina and who's a tall guy, Dominic Brazil. He fought some solid fighters, attack him, but none of them had great hand speed. Joseph Parker is definitely the fastest fighter that Anthony Joshua has faced up to this point. So maybe that could be, something that can give Joshua some trouble. But at the same time, out of all of the people that Joshua has faced, or Parker has faced, I'm sorry, Parker, there was no one there that seemed to have that much trouble with his hand speed. The fighters that he's fought that were pretty decent, that stayed a good amount of rounds with him, seemed to adjust to his speed. It didn't seem like his speed was too much for him. Parker does slow down. Parker does have stamina issues as well. He's like a Canelo where, he takes a lot of rounds off. If he is fighting, going 12 rounds with someone like Andy Ruiz or a Carlos Takam, those guys was able to stand and give him a good fight and win rounds at times because Joseph Parker definitely slows down. A lot of us have complained about Anthony Joshua and his conditioning issues. I really don't think he's that bad unless when he tries to blast someone out of there and he can't get him out of there. I've seen him slow down against Dillian White. We all know he slowed down against Vladimir Klitschko. But outside of that, I haven't seen any really dramatic periods where Joshua completely shut down because of stamina issues. Okay, he does slow down. All fighters do. So does Joseph Parker. But I think what Joshua needs to be worried about is if he's going to try to ambush Joseph Parker. Parker, from what I've seen so far, even though he's gotten tired in certain rounds and stuff like that, he seems to be pretty durable. Okay. I never really see him hurt like that. I've seen him take a lot of big shots and still be able to, to keep going, just he wasn't, he recovers really well, Joshua, there's rumors of sparring of him, and he addressed that in a press conference. I'm glad he did. He said he's named the guys that actually dropped him and stuff like that. But in a professional fight, Klitschko is the only one that dropped him. Okay, we seen him get hurt by Dillian White momentarily, but he recovered even at that point pretty quickly. Okay, now as far as the Takam fight, they both fought him. That's the pretty much. I'm not sure. Excuse me, if there are any other common opponents they had. But we all know Takam was a recent opponent for both. I believe Parker fought Takam in 2016, and Joshua fought Takam in his last fight. Joshua was definitely a lot more dominant. I believe even though Takam came in as a replacement, he seemed to be in top form. In fact, he seemed to be a little bit lighter and in better shape when he fought Joshua than he was when he fought Parker, in my opinion. I don't know, I could be wrong there, but I remember recently watching both fights, and I noticed that Takam looked very fit and very prepared. I remember watching leading up to the fight, and I remember they were doing like a workout video, and when they had their first face-off, not the weigh-in, but the face-off, the actual face-off, and I remember Takam was wearing a shirt. And I was thinking at first, like, oh, maybe he's a little pudgy right now, because, he's a replacement for this fight. But then when I saw the weigh-in, I saw how physical, like how his physique, he didn't look any different from any other fight. He looked very, very prepared for that fight. It's almost like he knew that he was a possible opponent for Joshua, you know. But the thing is, even though he showed a lot of heart, even though uh, he fought, he showed a lot of heart and everything in the Joshua fight, there was no point in that fight where he was winning. There was no point. Okay, there were times where he was slipping punches. I didn't think the fight should have been stopped. He was definitely slipping a lot of those punches. Um, there was points where he was landing some good shots, some pretty decent shots, but he never really had Joshua in any danger in that fight. Okay, as opposed to the Parker fight, where Takam was really giving Parker some major problems in that fight. There was rounds where he was dominant against Parker. Okay, whereas Takam fighting Joshua, he seemed to be a lot more cautious. He had a lot harder time trying to land a shot against Joshua because I just think Joshua's defense is tighter than Parker's. I think his technique is tighter than overall is better than Parker's. I think Parker's very good. I think Parker has a chance of beating him. Because of his hand speed, he does have great power. He could fight on the back foot pretty well. I think he will be fighting on the back foot for the majority of this fight. Okay. I think if he is able to land a shot in there while Joshua is landing combos, and this is what Joshua needs to be worried about. If he does ambush him, not only does he have to worry about his stamina, but he has to worry about getting countered with an uppercut or something and getting knocked out because Joshua does hit hard enough. He can easily get caught. Parker does hit hard. Did I say Parker? I think I said Parker. But anyway, you guys know what I mean. I think overall, though, I think Joshua is going to take this fight, though. I think, but I'm not sure if he's going to be able to knock him out. I think Joshua will beat him by decision. Okay, if the fight is going to be a stoppage, I think he'll stop Parker on his feet. It could be another controversial thing where, Parker might have continued or whatever. But I think at some point, if Joshua plays it smart and just try to outbox him round by round, I think in the middle to later rounds, all right, the second half of the fight, at that point, he needs to try to take over to get the stoppage to work with it while Parker's a little bit more tired, and I think he's going to take it either by decision or stoppage, maybe a controversial one, all right? I think Parker is if he wins, I think it'll be by knockout. I can't see Parker outboxing Joshua for 12 rounds, okay? I just don't see it. I'm not even talking about the judges being, unfair or biased or anything. I'm just saying straight, legit, like straight up, I don't see Parker outboxing Joshua to 12 rounds. I see Parker possibly stopping Joshua, knocking him down at some point. But I think Joshua is going to win this one by decision or late stoppage, okay? Not by straight KO, though. I mean stoppage, TKO, okay? So anyway, that's my thoughts on this fight, all right? Love the fight. But I see this being a great fight. I think this fight is going to actually be better than the Joshua and Klitschko fight. Actually, I'm predicting that now. I think this is going to be a great, great fight. All right. Let me know what you guys think. And make sure you look out for the Ortiz Wilder video. I'm going to post that up too. I'm going to throw that up too. All right. Peace.